Hello, everyone. Welcome again to Elevating Your Life. I am just really excited to share with you the amazing guest I have for you today. Today, we have Christian Ray Flores. He is an entrepreneur, international recording artist, philanthropist, and performance coach. His extraordinary journey from a child refugee in Chile to entertaining millions as a pop star in Eastern Europe, leading philanthropic projects internationally to founding entrepreneur projects in the US. This makes Christian a uniquely dynamic speaker and compelling leader. With a master's degree in economics and fluency in 4 languages, he is a versatile communicator. He also co-founded Third Drive Media, creating award-winning media projects and raising millions for startups and the nonprofit Ascend Mission Fund, serving children in Mozambique and Ukraine. Through exponential, Christian empowers business and nonprofit leaders to reach and stay at the top of their game. He is the host of the Headspace by Christian Ray Flores podcast and author of Little Book of Big Reasons to Love America. Oh my gosh, you're just amazing in so many ways. Welcome, Christian.
Thank you so much, Paula, for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, I'm so grateful. Well, your bio is just so fantastic. I would love to have you share with the audience any more of your background that you might like to share and kind of how you ended up where you are today.
Thanks for asking. It's a very confusing bio, so I acknowledge that. And and at the same time, I think it's a life journey that shaped me and gave me all kinds of advantages that on the surface look like disadvantages. And it's probably part of the reason why I love coaching. It's one of the things that I do. I coach, you know, executives, entrepreneurs, athletes, pastors, even spiritual leaders on just how to create more value, how to thrive, how to basically be at the top of your game and whatever it is that you do without sort of the compromise of a happy life, of healthy relationships, things like that. And the cool thing is that anybody can do that. And the reason I know this is because I started my first childhood memory is I was a refugee at age 5, like literally my first childhood memory. So it starts at a point, a very low point, as a disadvantage. We were in Chile. There was a military coup. My dad was in a concentration camp. He was happy. He was very lucky to be alive, and we ended up in a UN refugee camp, and that sends us into this several year journey of moving countries and continents, 3 continents. So we go from Chile to Germany to Russia to Africa. I grew up in Africa, 7 to 14 years old, formative years. My parents get divorced, another tragedy. And during those moves, I saw so much. I experienced poverty, danger, right? Being in a refugee camp. I saw civil war in Africa. Then I saw the fall of the Soviet Union in Russia and tanks in the streets, divorce of my parents, sort of personal tragedy, and all of these things. They have scars, right? They give you scars that are emotional in your memory, but they also give you muscles. And one of the things that I love doing is telling people, you can use those scars to transform them into muscles to actually propel you forward. And I ended up getting a great education. I speak 4 different languages. I started a music career when I was 22 years old, and by 24, I was on national television in all around Eastern Europe, all the former Soviet Union. And I went from being sort of this dark-skinned outsider in a pretty Slavic sort of space to being a pop star, right? Campaigning for a president and entertaining millions on television, being on sports arenas and doing philanthropic events for thousands of orphans and doing good things where other stars that are even on a higher level would pay attention. So Michael Jackson came to one of my events, for example, right? And so it goes from all this tragedy and difficulty and lack of opportunity to extraordinary accomplishments. And the secret there and that's why I love sharing about this, is that you can change your mindset about these things, the things that are, working against you in many ways, and have those things propel you actually towards success. And you can learn the skills to do that.
Oh, I love that. And that's a fascinating story. And I love your analogy of scars then turning into muscles, because that's so true.
Yep,
And I also see that on the gratitude end. I mean, when we have challenges in our life, we become more grateful for the good in our life.
that's right. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
What a background, what a history. And so what you're doing today, you are out there helping others to,
that's right.
grow their muscles and increase. Tell us a little bit about the different things you're doing, such as your podcast, your newsletter. Tell us about that, please.
So basically, the coaching that I do is high performance coaching. So it's very boutique, it's very small, it's not cheap, it's highly focused and high energy, right? So it's just a few people. But the expertise that I offer in that very limited space is really what I want to do is make it available to everybody else. So the podcast is for that. So it's completely free. You can go on YouTube and watch my interviews with some of the top experts in human flourishing. You can talk to the people that went through my program and how they did it and the ins and outs in a lot of detail. I share some personal stories and very specific value. And the newsletter that has now, as of today, I think maybe over a little bit over 20,000 subscribers, drops every Sunday. And every Sunday, I give you something that will elevate your life. And it's absolutely free. You can subscribe to the full archive beyond like the last 3 months, which is a lot of free stuff, by the for the price of a latte a month, right? So I just love sharing those resources, those insights, not only mine, but the people that I get to work with, learn from, partner with, and some of them are some of the top experts on the planet that are doing this incredible work or research that is cutting edge. And I just want to make it available for everybody.
Oh, that is so fantastic. And I know you do a lot with business leaders. And so for for example, what are some of the reasons why business leaders plateau in their careers?
That's an excellent question. I think there's several reasons, right? I think one of them could be that they hyper focus on work and under focus on personal development and things that are less obvious and less on the surface, right? They hyper focus on one dimension of life and under focus on others that are actually central to their development and to their success in the professional realm as well, right? So if we help them broaden their health, elevate their emotional health as well, and incorporate things that make them hyper performers essentially, it changes the way they show up both at work, with their families, with their friends, with their loved ones. So that's one thing. It's just too narrow of a focus. That's one thing that happens all the time. The other thing is, because as people succeed, they lose direction, because the things that are simple, hey, I want to be a great engineer, for example. As you start getting better and better at your craft, you start getting opportunities thrown at you. You start leading more people. Complexities start being layered one upon the other because you're doing so well. Well, what that happens is you have competing priorities, and you start off with a very clear direction and pace, and you end up with no direction and conflicting priorities in life. So you slow down, eventually you start moving all together and you start going in circles. And that happens all the time with people that reach certain heights in their career. The other piece that's really important is how do you handle stress and anxiety? Because if you're building anything new, anything, a company, writing a book, building a clinic, even going overseas and helping the poor in extreme poverty, you're creating something new. Anything new will always encounter obstacles,
Mhm.
always. And obstacles always inspire anxiety and stress. You're stressed out, you're starting up, everything's a mess, it's chaos. So if you are to build anything of significance, You need to be a master of emotional health. And you need to be able to actually turn stress into creativity on demand. And that's one of the things that we teach people how to do.
Ah, So, so what would one step be to turn that stress in the other direction? I
Well,
mean,
one very easy,
something.
one simple but not easy way, let me correct myself, is how do you start your morning? If you start your morning and the first thing you do is give your brain the signal that you're behind, that you're overwhelmed, the to-do list, you should start checking emails. I think the first thing you do is check your phone. You are already at a disadvantage because you're basically saying you're sending your brain into survival mode, not creative mode.
Mhm.
You know, that's one thing. Second, if you don't move your body, it doesn't increase your awareness, your cognitive abilities, and things like that. So you sort of sit at a desk and that's all you do. You're at the disadvantage. If you multiply that by a week, a month, and then a decade, you're at a real you're in trouble, basically. So we teach people how to incorporate the physical activation of who you are on a daily basis, right? Then there's a spiritual dimension, right? If you think about just yourself and you're the center of the universe, you're not going to think big thoughts. But if you have a transcendent practice of any kind, right? I'm a Christian guy, so I teach how to do it in the Christian realm. How do you connect with scripture, with wisdom that has survived 2,000 years, 5,000 years, depending on the part of the book that we're talking about. These are completely universal human wisdom that now modern science is actually confirming all of this stuff with some of the cutting edge stuff that's coming out of Harvard and Stanford and other places like that. You see that ancient wisdom actually makes a lot of sense, you know? So if you have a transcendent practice every morning, if you think of the world as a bigger place and you as a smaller piece of it, you actually develop incredible wisdom and abilities to make decisions. You navigate life and make less mistakes, right?
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I love the idea of, what you start out with in the morning. Myself, I like to start my day with something I'm grateful for. I start my day with gratitude.
Me too. Me too. That's part of
Oh,
my
I love
journal
that.
practice. I
Oh,
journal every that's another practice, journaling. And there's, I almost every day I have a gratitude list going because
yes.
it changes you, right, Paula?
Yes, it
Do you
does.
feel the
It
change?
sets the tone of the whole day. Gratitude in my morning prayer. It sets the tone of the whole day. And I'm fascinated. I didn't realize so movement is going to make a difference with our brain and how
Oh, absolutely.
we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
I
there's so
wow.
much science behind it. We were not built to sit in front of a screen all day or even to sit all day. I mean, think about it. Even when you look at the span of civilization, let's say it's 5,000 years, bring it back to ancient Egypt, let's say, right? A lot of the things that we know about the early cradle of civilization or Mesopotamia, things like that. Literally if you take 5,000 years and it's the 24 hours of a day, let's say, right? We have been sitting down, not seeing the sun, not moving, and being relational disconnected for literally the last 3 minutes
Mhm.
of the human experience. Just 3 minutes. And because of that, we're lonely, we're weak, we're not healthy. We might live longer, and some of it is actually artificially. You live longer, right? Because of the advanced medicine, the technologies that we have available to us. But we're less happy, actually.
Mhm.
And so for 5,000 years, so 23 hours and 55 minutes, we have been social, connected, relational. We have been trained to gather wisdom from our elders and be connected to them, right? To be around our extended family. We have walked everywhere. We have moved and gathered whatever, water or other things like that, right? Um, we have worked with our hands. And for the last 5 minutes, we just stopped doing that. And then we wonder, what are the disadvantages? Now, if you just take even step back from that piece, um, studies show, for example, that only if you contract your muscles, there's a specific molecule that gets secreted into a bloodstream called the hope molecule, for example. Also, if you have resistance training and cardio training regularly, 6, 7 days a week, it doesn't even have to be massively strenuous. You don't have to be a bodybuilder. But if you do that regularly, your cognitive abilities increase, your longevity, your mood, the inner pharmacy of who you are gets deployed to help you in life. So you don't have to go to a pharmacy to get an antidepressant because it gets generated naturally by your body. You're happier, you're more optimistic, you're actually smarter. If you, for example, exercise your muscles, your brain gets stronger as well because your body spies on your mind and your mind actually spies on your body as well.
Oh, how fascinating is that? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And I've always enjoyed and believed, just being busy, doing things keeps me going, and going outside, listening to the birds, looking at a pretty cloud, all those
Yes.
things I
Although those things
think
are very, very healthy.
expand us. I really do.
Yes, they do. Yeah, they
And
do. All
so,
of those things, what you're doing with that, it's super important actually for a
yeah,
healthy life.
yeah, I love it. I love it. And something you've mentioned is how we can remove inner barriers like fear, imposter syndrome, and such. And for
Mhm.
those that aren't familiar with that, what is imposter syndrome?
It's basically this very primal temptation, and it's actually meant, I think, in an evolutionary sense, as a self-protection way to not be rejected by your tribe, because we are very social just by design. So when you're doing something that is out of the ordinary, and you can do it, you'll be doing something extraordinary in the best possible way. That's right, like writing a book you always wanted to write, or starting a business you always wanted to start, or really aiming to hit a financial goal or a health goal or a different role in your company. You That requires almost like a mobilization of who you are as a human being. It requires for you to get some skills together, to prove those skills to people, right? And there's this unknown. What if it fails?
Mhm.
And that fear, and it's really not fear of failure at the very core of it, it's really fear of rejection. That's imposter syndrome. And the imposter syndrome is, I'm doing this thing, I'm Paula Vail, I'm doing this podcast, and maybe my peers will feel like it's foolish to do so. What does
Mhm.
it even matter? Who do I think I am?
Yeah.
Um, they will any minute now discover that I'm a complete fraud. That's why the term comes from imposter. You're an imposter. You're not really that smart or that good or have that kind of expertise to warrant the things that you're aspiring to. And that is an inner mechanism that is really sort of outdated. It's sort of misaligned to modern life, right? So it feels like you're doing this risky thing that is scary, and everybody's going to find out any second that you are a complete fraud. But the truth is, all you are is writing a book or starting a podcast or starting so every single person on earth has those thoughts in their mind when they do something new, right?
Oh, yeah.
Eventually, when that new thing becomes normal, and there's proof of concept, right? There's social approval, et cetera, or there's numbers to show for it, or revenue. Those voices they can quiet a little bit, but they actually never go away.
That is,
So
oh boy.
if you want to be a successful person in anything, you need to be able to understand how these things work internally and have some mechanisms, some skills to combat those things so they don't slow you down, so that they don't produce self-sabotage in the things that you want to achieve in life.
Yeah. Oh, Christian, that just got me, because I was so just that. 9 years ago, when I was contacted by a network asking if I would please host a show, I was so scared. And it was, am I
Exactly.
smart enough? Can I do it?
Yeah.
So then I said, okay. And then I wanted to end the show in love, hugs, and blessings. And I thought, oh, everybody's going to think I'm a weirdo. I can't tell them I love them. And after a couple months, I just said, I'm going to be me. And that's what I
Good,
do.
good.
And here it is. But yeah, that's so true. There can be something we want to do, but then that fear comes in.
That's right. And people, and the thing is, what you did very correctly and courageously and importantly is that you did not give up. Actually, before that, you didn't give up. You actually started. You said yes. You see, most people never say yes. They don't even start. And then there's a whole slew of people after that that do start and they just give up too early. They just cave to what I call the resistance.
Because that
So
resistance.
so when I work with people, I look into what they're supposed to be doing. We help them basically discover their passion, what they are willing to pay a price of hard work and mastery for, and invest time and money, and actually bear risk to get. And then we say, okay, now we know. Let's help you not, first of all, start, and let's help you not give up. And then the rest is just, it's so easy, actually.
Oh my gosh. Christian, I just have to say thank you. For all the people whose lives you have changed and helped on their journeys. So for someone that's thinking, okay, I want to reach out to Christian. I I want to take some of these steps and learn more. What would you say to them?
Okay, so if you want to just learn the stuff that I give away freely, just go to christianrayflores.com. This is my newsletter. There's 20,000 plus subscribers. It drops every Sunday evening. And I share very freely all of the information, the knowledge, right? Now, if you want to take it more seriously and you need help with that, you can go to exponential.life, and exponential is spelled without an E. So it's an X at the beginning, exponential.life. And that's basically my coaching website. And that is obviously a whole different level of commitment. It's serious, it's important. We have a wait list. But you will learn more there. You will hear stories, testimonials from people, and you can even take a free assessment there at exponential.life that gives you, it takes about 5 minutes, but it gives you a very clear picture of where you stand in your life in the most important dimensions. It's research backed, and you'll get a report in your inbox with like 11 different things that are very, very important, and you'll see them scored. So that's it's just the first step to clarity, I guess, right? And it's absolutely free, so you can get it for free. And if after that you go, oh, actually, I really need some help, you can always reach out and we can chat about that as well.
Yes, yes. So is that what you call your self-access scorecard that we can
Yeah,
do?
it's called the exponential radar scorecard. So it's the radar because it sees the 360 of your life, right? And it's the exponential radar scorecard. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's just a fantastic idea. Oh my goodness. I love that. So what would you say then are the most important dimensions that can provide a happy, high performing life?
I would say it's not even important what I say, but what studies show, right? So we have a scoring system within the coaching program that basically elevates 7 things, right? And this is actually based and derived from the Harvard Study of Human Development. It's the longest longitudinal study in existence, 80 plus years. They follow over, I think, 500 people for 80 years. So it's not just them, but their kids and their grandkids. And what's remarkable is that they really flushed out things that are usually sort of really mostly contained in wisdom literature, but you can't measure it, they feel like. But this study has actually measured it. So there's data to back it up. And what they say is that the four most important things, the top things that will make you healthier, wealthier, and live longer, actually add years to your life, are a spiritual practice, the transcendent practice, a faith practice, um, your deep relationships in your family, and we're talking about extended, basically nuclear family plus extended family, right? Sort of a healthy family, deep friendships, and meaningful work. Those are the four top things. And if you get those right, you will win in life in ways that you can't even imagine. And almost all of us have sort of this a low score in some dimension there. So one of the things that we do exponentially is help you get a high score across 7 dimensions, not even 4, because we add some other ones, right, that are helpful or adjacent at least. So if you literally have 7 dimensions and you score between an 8 and a 10 across all 7, you are going to be a very successful human being. And that's our goal.
Love that. I love that. Improving our scorecard. Oh my goodness. I love it. Well, we just have a couple minutes left in the show. Christian, what last message do you want to give to everybody today?
Whatever you feel your very objective, threatening, unsurmountable obstacles are, disadvantages in life, most of them are not real. Most of them are not real. And most of them are perceived. Some of them are real, but most of them are actually objectively perceived. And my question to you is, when are you going to start changing it, creating a new future? Because I've been in very disadvantageous situations in life, maybe even more disadvantageous than most people. Like very few people start their childhood in a refugee camp. I've been an outsider everywhere I've gone. I'm a brown-skinned guy who've grown up all over the world. I've been literally an outsider everywhere I've been. And yet there's a mindset shift that can happen in you that will turn those scars, those obstacles, those perceived barriers into a source of energy, creativity, upward mobility, success. And everybody, you don't have to be rich. You don't have to have all the money. You don't have to have the investments. Anybody can get access to those if they just make the effort and you learn those skills.
Oh, Christian, thank you. You are truly an inspiration. You really are. And your background, all that you've seen, my gosh, you really are an inspiration. I'm just so grateful to have met you and able to share you with my audiences.
Thank you. It's an honor. Thank you, Paula.
Oh, thank you. To everyone out there, thank you for joining us today. I am just sitting here so inspired. Love, hugs, and blessings to everyone. Christian, love, hugs, and blessings. And I would love to have you on the show again someday. You are just very inspiring, and thank you for your positive messages. And it's been very, very wonderful.
Thank you, Paula.